Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the channel. This is Red Dissection. I'm breaking down Manchester United loss to Brighton at the Amex on the weekend. Coming into this match, both United and Brighton have had their opening day victories. They were confident, especially Brighton, the new manager. They're top of the table. They scored 3 away goals, Everton, and they took that into their stride and won this match. They didn't actually dominate the match. United had most of the ball, slightly more than Brighton did. United controlled them out of possession as well with their pressing structure, and they couldn't really create anything in the first half. But United gave in to their old habits of defensive mistakes. Harry Maguire here not clearing the ball, and the cross went across the length of our box before it reached Mitoma, and he had a simple ball to Danny Welbeck, who had the freedom of the box. I don't know where Martinez was. I don't know where Dalot was. And we simply conceded a totally avoidable goal, in my opinion. And then you could see the United lost the zip in the match. Their passing was off, and they didn't create anything in the first half. At the start of the second half, Mason Mount was subbed off for Xerxes, and United took the lead with Amad Diallo, who was quiet till then in the match, and I was worried that he would have been taken off. But he scored a good goal and dedicated it to his late stepmother, who passed on a few days ago. And then United took the lead with a smashing counter-attack. But of course, Xerxes was offside. I didn't understand why he had to tap that in. It was going in. But also the blame lies on GARNACHO. He should have just deposited the ball in the near post. There was no need to go to the far post where Xerxes could have touched it, and he did. Rightly struck off as offside. Then the manager made a substitution that I could have never imagined him making. First he took off Rashford, which was surprising. Then he took off Bruno, and that's where we lost the plot. We lost complete control of the match. There were no counter-attacks anymore. We didn't have composure to build any kind of attack. He brought on McTominay for Bruno, which is even more absurd. Brought on Brighton on us. They got more confidence. They brought on the likes of Baleba, who completely manhandled the likes of Kobe Menu. João Pedro came into his own, ran past our midfield again. There were gaps appearing again like last season in our midfield. Huge wide space. And Baleba and João Pedro had a field day running into those. And it was a terrible performance for the last 15 minutes. And eventually United succumbed to another defensive mistake. Dalot, Martinez and Casemiro leaving the men at the far post. The Brighton men queuing up at the far post. And João Pedro had a simple finish to tap it in. And then United conceded in the 95th minute. There was no coming back. Honestly, United didn't look like scoring after that counter-attack that was struck offside. And I think United were playing for a draw, but we couldn't hold on. Obviously, the two goals were two defensive mistakes, and I'm sure that from next match, we are not going to see the likes of Maguire playing. And even the likes of Rashford, I think they should be dropped in the next match. Coming to statistics, I think United had slightly more of the ball. They had equal chances. They had similar kind of big chances, similar kind of touches in the box. There wasn't too much to separate the two teams. I don't think this was Brighton's best performance, and that is even more humiliating. On a day like this, a team like Brighton, who's still not like the De Zerbi's Brighton, they didn't even have to play well against us to win that match. They just won it at a canter. They brought on the likes of Baleba in the second half. They were playing with the likes of Gilmore and Milner in midfield, for goodness sake. That just speaks volumes of the kind of mess we are in with this manager. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Andro Nana couldn't save either of the goals. He didn't have any chance. They were simple tap-ins, both of them. Apart from that, he didn't make any kind of mess, any kind of mistake. He was decent on the ball. Nothing spectacular, nothing out of ordinary. MAZRAOI, I think he was a standout player. Defensively, he kept Mitoma under wraps. Only time he got any opportunity was a goal, the first one for Danny Welbeck. I thought he was decent. Attacking-wise, he was curbed a bit in this match, but defensively, he was stellar. Maguire was responsible for the first goal. He was troubled by the pace of João Pedro. In the second half, he kept losing his runners, the likes of Milner getting an opportunity at the goal. It was a typical Harry Maguire performance. Martinez again looked rattled with the pace of João Pedro, and the wingers like Minter was to blame partially for the second goal. I've seen that he's lagged that pop in his passing that he had in his first season. I don't think this was a good performance by Martinez. Diogo Dalot also had a bad game. I think he's been our most consistent player for the last 15 months, but this wasn't a good game. He was troubled by Mente. He kept running at him. Obviously, he didn't let him get past him too much. Him coming on his left foot, but he was troubled by his pace. Obviously, for the Brighton winner, he is the left back. He is supposed to cover that far post, and he wasn't there, and obviously partially responsible for conceding the goal. Going to midfield, Casemiro had a decent game. First half was decent. Was decent on the ball. Defensively, he was fine. But in the second half, you could see him losing his touch. Going back to last year's Casemiro, just diving in for stupid tackles, losing his man, getting run past easily by the likes of Joao Pedro. It was not a good performance in the second half. Kobe Meno was completely ragdolled by Baleba, but even before that, with the likes of Gilmore and Milner, he was completely outplayed. I don't think he's fit enough right now. I think he's lacking match fitness and match rhythm, which is to be expected. He's a young player who's come off a long break after the Euros, hasn't had a proper preseason. He looks off the pace. I think this is a humbling reminder to the rest of the fan base as well. He's still not the finished article. Certainly against the likes of Baleba, he looked out of his depth physically. There's a lot of room for him to improve in that. Diallo had a mixed bag in the first half. He has the best chance to open the scoring. Missed that. He should have gone with his right foot, went with his left foot. It was a ball at an awkward height. He couldn't strike the ball cleanly on the volley. Looked bright in moments, but obviously he just seemed like he lacked confidence. I thought he is afraid that he will be the first one to be hooked off, but he got the goal, a good finish, lovely run, and even on the counter attack that was given offside, he was involved. He looked bright, but obviously at the very end, I thought he got injured or he had some cramps, and he looked tired at the very end. So I think he needs to work on his fitness as well. Bruno Fernandes, again back to his old self, just losing the ball for no particular reason. He kills so many of our attacks by not taking care of the ball, losing possession easily. But to be honest, it was his substitution that changed the game for us. We completely lost the plot and any kind of semblance of attack when he was subbed off for McTominay. I think that speaks volume that even the likes of Bruno are so important for this team. We haven't even tried to replace the likes of him. And now we're stuck with him on a bigger contract, with a bigger wage and a bigger mark on our back. Rashford, the less said about him, the better. He didn't create anything. He didn't contribute anything. This season, he's running, he's pressing. That's the best compliment I can give him. But he lacks quality. He lacks confidence, and I just don't see him in this team getting any better. And he should have been one of those players who should have been just moved on this season. And I think we're going to rue the fact that we didn't do anything with Rashford. Mount, I think the experiment has already failed. It's time to just put a pin in it. Start with the likes of Xerxes. Until Hoyland comes back, I think just start with Xerxes and Bruno. I think there is no room for Mason Mount in this team, even in the squad. And the sooner we get rid, the better. Substitution starting with Xerxes. I think he was bright for the first 30 minutes until that offside goal. I think that rattled him, that knocked his confidence a bit. After that, I couldn't see him much. He wasn't involved too much. He wasn't getting service at all. It was a graveyard shift for him. And especially after Bruno went off, he didn't get any supply. He wasn't involved. Some lovely interplay with Ahmad in the second half. Deeper the second half went, he vanished completely. Garnacho looked bright, looked industrious, certainly made a difference on the left flank. I think he should start there in the next match. There's not much to say. Obviously, he should have scored that goal. He almost did. He thought he did, but obviously he was rightly struck off as offside. He should have just gone to the near post. The keeper was already beaten. He'll lament the fact that he didn't. I think with Ahmad on the other flank, I think they have good chemistry, and we should see that against Liverpool. DELIGT came in for Maguire. I think he should start the next match. Simple as that. Obviously, there's not much to say about him. This match wasn't called upon too much. Obviously, on the goal, he should be the one who should organize the team, especially the back line. But he's still new to the club. I don't think he has that much authority in the dressing room. I think he should just start next matches and just get back his rhythm going forward. McTominay should be off to Naples. There's no need for him. There's no place for him in Manchester. I think he should just scurry off as soon as possible. Obviously, in the match, typical McTominay was completely absent, wasn't involved. Number of times he got the ball, he lost the ball every single time, so nothing more to say. Anthony, again, he can scurry off to Brazil. Literally offers us nothing. Really no point on bringing him onto the pitch. And he completely proves that every time. Contributes absolutely nothing to the attack. Looks completely devoid of confidence. He's been picked over Sancho, which I don't understand. I think the manager has to take the blame for it. This is marquee signing from last year. The most expensive signing. Coming to the manager, beginning with the starting 11, kept the same team. Literally, that is his pattern. Until somebody commits a mistake, he doesn't start his new signings. He doesn't even know his best players. The likes of Rashford starting over the likes of Sancho. Even Anthony being in the squad over Sancho, like Maguire starting with the late is a creature of habit, and that is his pattern. Until somebody commits a mistake, he keeps on playing the same squad, irrespective of the player's individual contribution to the team or its individual quality. Something we've seen so many times with him. There is no forward momentum. There is no changing anything until the manager gets the hook. And until we make a change in the top seat, everything starts with the manager. The buck stops with the manager. Until he goes, I think we're going to see these inconsistent performances throughout the season. Obviously, being the last week before the transfer window ends, the paramount thing is right now to get our acquisitions in midfield. If we can get a left back, the better, because we can't rely on the likes of Malacia and Luke Shaw. Of course, Dalo is doing a decent job, but obviously he's not a natural left back, so we need reinforcement even there. Even in attacking areas, I think we could use with a winger, especially if we're going to ruin Sancho's career and not going to play him. We're relying on Xerxes and Hoyland for the goals in that center striker position. Not sold on any of them. They're young, they're inexperienced, they need time, but none of them look like a poacher or a clinical striker who's going to get 30 goals a season. So that's a concern as well. Rashford is a big concern. He needs to be moved on. He's not contributed anything to the team. There are no goals and assists. Obviously, his overall play, his build-up play is atrocious. But at least he got goals a couple of seasons back. But now there is no end product with him. Midfield, we're relying on 37-year-old Casemiro right now. I think we're teetering on the hook. I think he's running on extremes right now. Casemiro, I think he's playing his best. Not another gear to go up to. I think his performance is going to deteriorate further on. We could even see it in the second half of this match. The likes of Joao Pedro and Baleba just running past him easily, just breezing past him. Even the likes of Milner just running off of him. Maguire is a bit concerned, but we have the lead, so I think he should start the next match against Liverpool at Old Trafford. Overall, I think we can see where we are. We're still stuck in the same spot with this manager. And until we make a change, I think we might finish even lower than 8th this season. West Ham have improved. And I think the longer the season goes on, their new acquisitions, the players they've signed, they're integrated into the team and they'll start playing better as well. I think we have to win against Liverpool at Old Trafford next week. And I think if we don't, then we'll see the crowd losing confidence in the manager again. I think that Africa victory colored opinions for a few of them. If we lose, patience is going to run out with him. Soon after, we'll start hearing cries for his ex again. That was the solution that we needed. We needed to make a complete change starting from the manager. I think the top honchos, the management, dug that decision. They tried to get Tuchel, they tried to get De Zerbi, couldn't get any of them, and we stuck with him. And I think until we make that clean break from him, I don't see any long-term improvement in the team's fortunes going forward. Please join us for the Red Prep show for the Liverpool match. Until then, take care, do good, pray for Palestinians, all the press people all across the globe. Assalamu alaikum.